Hi, and welcome to this short video just introducing Servicebrand Flow, which is a collaboration between Servicebrand Global and Create Flow. My name's Gary King. I'm co-founder of Create Flow. I'm a business psychologist, coach and adventurer. Got a degree in adventure, which is a bit random, but we can talk about that another time. Alan, introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. So as you mentioned, I'm head up Servicebrand Global, and what I enjoy doing most in work is designing and implementing values-driven concepts and operating models to deliver sustained performance.
And I'm Jill Chapman. I'm the other half of the co-founders of Create Flow. So I'm an occupational organisational psychologist and a coaching psychologist. And I've worked for the last 25 years probably, helping individuals and organisations to navigate change and to achieve full potential and create high performance environments. So yeah, looking forward to sharing this with you today.
So we're just going to skip through this video fairly swiftly, but in essence, that's what it says on the tin. We're here to talk about how to improve organisational performance in a complex world. So what are we seeing? Well, it's tough out there, guys. I think we all recognise the challenges that we're all facing as leaders in organisations and businesses right now. So much uncertainty, so much complexity, so much demand on our attention and focus. So it makes it increasingly more difficult to make the right decisions and prioritize what we need to be doing and align our strategy to what's going on, even create our strategies when everything's so uncertain. So, you know, it's tough out there. It's not just you. We all should recognize that it's difficult times. So with that in mind, you know, we have a lot of change initiatives as part of you know what we have to do with our businesses right now with AI and everything like that. There's so many different initiatives at play. Alan, talk to us about some of the challenges that puts on business leaders.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. And when I was looking at this slide, I don't know why it jumped into my head, but I used to coach kids at football. And it reminded me of when I started with a bunch of 5-year-olds, and basically one boy would kick the ball to the other end of the field and everybody would run in that direction. I'm sure you've seen stuff like that. And it really struck me that in today's business environment, that's how it might feel, actually, that organizations are just kicking a ball and following it instead of what we moved on to, where players understood where on the pitch they should stand, and that when they received the ball, they were looking for a colleague who was available to receive that ball. And that's just a choice of how you want to play. So I think that's not wishing to mix metaphors with our boating one, but it really struck me that that's how it might feel in some organizations today.
I think we can all relate to that. Absolutely. I remember that from my own early days. And Jill, what are the hidden costs here to our businesses and organisations? What are we, you know, what we're seeing in terms of the complexity and the things that sort of maybe sitting outside of our awareness if we're not careful?
Again, I'm sure this kind of, as you're reading through this slide here, you can kind of relate to all of these things, but it is tough, and therefore there is you know, part of the cost of this complexity that we're in is often, particularly, energy is wasted, or just really, you know, how we're using our energy needs to be really carefully thought about, because I'm sure yourself, and if not yourself, your colleagues are tired, are really, heading towards burnout. And a lot of our work in the last 5 years, I would say particularly, a lot of our work has been in helping organisations to manage the risk of burnout, because it is real. We've kind of hit our human limitations in many ways, and we have to be quite skilled now in terms of making more, as I say, skillful choices really about how we're working towards our vision, our mission, how we're getting towards those operational goals and things. Because if we just try and approach things in the way as we have done in the past, the reality is, this everyone running around, going for the same ball, a kind of a chaotic environment easily can arise. And when that's present, we miss the opportunities that are right there in front of us. And what I love is when we're working with our clients and there's a moment of, oh, actually, we've got somewhere a lot better in a much easier way. And that gives me a lot of joy, seeing those moments of like the light bulb of, we don't need to burn out to achieve our growth. We can do this in a way where, we're really skillful in how we're using our energy, and we might even enjoy it. You never know on the way as well.
Yeah. I think what we're talking about, though, in the here and the now, and then the challenges of the everyday, before we get to that point of recognizing where we can take back control, is understanding that if we're not careful, we may have drifted as an organization, as a business. We may be drifting as individuals in that business, drifting from each other. And the risk of that is real. If we're not careful, we could end up miles away from where we expected we would be. And then the work is recovering the ground that we've lost. And so we've got to be really, I think, using your words, Jill, skillful in then navigating our way back to where we should be, just to get back to where we should have been at the start. But obviously, it'd be much better not to have drifted so far away from our mission in the first place. So being skillful in avoiding that, and that requires a great deal of awareness and checking in with what's going on with our organisation and making sure that we are being realistic in our overview, ultimately, what is happening, and not bury our heads in the sand. So what if you could take control, Jill? What would that look like?
First of all, it looks like a big relief, I think, in a sense of like just generally knowing there's a real sense of hope, belief, confidence with that, knowing that actually we don't need to be pulled around by this complex environment and this chaos, that actually we can together as an organisation take back control, feel safer. If we think about the boat at the sea, adrift, there's a sense of unsafety in all that. And actually, this is all about how we can step back into a place of safety, which then brings confidence. So it all starts from clarity. It all starts from that clarity that provides stability. Everyone right now is seeking some kind of stability, aren't they? And actually, the more we can provide that and be really clear on what matters most, and for everyone to genuinely believe in that and know that, and it makes sense, these are the most important things we can focus on right now. That's what builds the alignment. And alignment brings energy, doesn't it? Like when people are actually getting behind things, it should never be on one person's shoulders. And that alignment brings a common energy and direction, and we can then get behind the purpose. But also, it's like you've got your hand back on the tiller. You can take control. We can make decisions, and it might be decisions to kind of move in some different directions to navigate. But it's a wonderful feeling, isn't it, when we no longer feel like we're being pulled around and that we're just in a state of survival. Actually, let's let's step back into being back in control, providing that stability and safety. It's where the energy comes from, doesn't it, to actually get to where we want to be.
Yeah. We're still in the sea, but we are now in control of where we go, rather than, I like that. So, Alan, tell us what the role of values are. Why might values be a big part of the missing piece here?
Well, Gary, in today's environment, the old style of control, which was command and control what everybody is doing in your organization, just doesn't work anymore. And so this is a different style of control where you're just allowing people clarity and understanding around what's important to the organization and the style in which it operates, and then trusting them to operate in that style, so that that's how the organization feels to anybody that's interacting with it. So values are really the foundation for all of that. And then, like it says on this slide, they act as an operating system in a very practical way. So I'm not a subscriber to values being a kind of airy-fairy concept. It's more concrete than that. And it's only when you understand the specific behaviors that you want people to be living up to that values are then being lived rather than laminated, which is a bit of a waste of time.
Absolutely. I think when we talk about customer experience, most people recognise the importance of customers and the engagement, customer engagement. But in terms of them being maybe undervalued, the importance, actually, what we're saying here is that the customer experience is the keystone. It is so important that it can unlock and empower all of the rest of the system and everything in it. It could create the potential for all other things, ultimately feeding into that organizational performance piece, overall performance piece. So we mustn't forget the importance of the customer experience here, and those values absolutely feed into what our customers and our clients will experience in what we're doing and how we're doing it, and be the difference between our potential in terms of whatever the growth strategies might be, and ultimate sustainable business growth. So if an organizational business doesn't have customers, what is it? Yeah. So what are we talking about here, and why are we going on about this in this way? So we're presenting an opportunity really to engage, but it's not just another initiative. Jill, tell us a little bit about this as a framework. What is making this different? What we're talking about here different from what they may have heard before, people might have heard before?
Yeah, I think what is really important to point out here is that we totally get it, that there is change fatigue. There's so many initiatives, and that's not what this is. What this is a practical approach that works from where you already are. It's about getting greater value about all of the hard work and efforts you've already been putting in, and bringing that to life in a way that's going to increase clarity and reduce that sense of confusion that comes with complexity. So it's using our approach in a way that's going to help everyone to really understand what is important and get everyone, aligned, as we said earlier. We need that structure, as Alan was saying, in terms of that football metaphor earlier as well. If we haven't got that structure, we're just, could easily just all be running after a ball, and it's taken a lot of energy and we're getting nowhere, and it's not skillful. So it's about bringing in that structure. There's a methodology here. There's a practical and impactful methodology. And that works across teams and functions, wherever you are in the organization. It is relatable, understandable, impactful. And it isn't about disrupting the work. You know, many of our clients, rightly so, are always worried about taking people away from their work, you know, or, you know, slowing down the operation in any way. And this is designed in a way that doesn't do that. You know, it's not disrupting the workplace, the flow of the organization, is not disrupting the customers getting what they need. This is about actually a practical way to bring something to life that's going to make a massive difference and make things easier and happier as well for everybody.
Is it simple to apply, Alan?
Yeah, it is simple, but that doesn't make it easy, right? And Jill, what you're talking about there reminding me of when I was running a business unit. You know, you'd have 3 initiatives initiated by different functions at the head office, with very little consideration that they were all going to have to be handled by the operating units. And so that's what I believe is so powerful about what we've created here, is that it's designed for the operators, and they're the people that actually make things happen in a business. So it is very simple, but like I say, it's not necessarily so easy, because it does need a lot of hard work and it needs coordination. And just going back to that football thing again, it reminded me that, you know, each player doesn't just operate on their own in isolation, whereas in organizations, much of the time functions tend to be like that rather than members of the team. And our framework really enables that to happen for the reasons that are indicated on the slide here.
Yeah, and the risk, using the sailing, you know, putting the football into the water for a minute. Obviously, the risks become real if we're out at sea. And I think that what we're talking about here are real tangible risks for businesses and organisations of not engaging with this sort of thing, because you cannot be sustainable if you've got people running around, you know, on the football pitch, you know, or, you know, without direction, without understanding what it is they're supposed to be doing. Alan, sticking with you for a minute. So walk us through how this is going to ultimately help us achieve more sustained performance.
Well, I think the big takeaway here is that there is not just one output from putting this approach into place. So it makes things easier for everybody in the organization, because they've got a better understanding. They understand the way that the organization is behaving, and they're able to make decisions more easily. Like we were talking about just a minute ago, it means that teams and functions come together rather than operating sometimes kind of against each other, which we've all seen in organizations. And it's better use of energy, like Jill was talking about a few slides ago, where you might have the same level of energy or even less expended, but actually you're achieving more together and achieving better outcomes. And for me, the really important one is that this just doesn't deliver performance in the short term. The framework is designed to make sure that you're delivering sustained performance over a period of time, and you're building on your achievements as you go.
Okay. Oh, I suppose we've been alluding to the, you know, when talking about these challenges facing businesses and leaders in those businesses and organisations, we've been talking about survival mode. This reactive, you know, here we are in a reactive state rather than responsive, proactive way of working, and it's becoming habitual. So talk to us about the shift from surviving to navigating to being in, you know, going back to that being in control, Jill.
Yeah, I think the important point here is that first statement about not avoiding. And I think once we feel more safe and we feel more confident, we naturally shift into a mode where we can approach things rather than avoid them. And that's really, really important. And I think with this kind of practical methodology, if you like, it allows us to really help people to adapt, to really know what it is they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they can have a real impact on the business performance, which is a massive motivator for people as well. So when teams, are working with the same language, I think that's important here. So when teams share the values, they've got clarity together on them. When people are kind of literally, we talk about singing from the same hymn sheet, but that aspect of having a common narrative, a common understanding, and a collective one that everyone has bought into, designed, agreed, then people don't feel alone as well in these choppy seas. People know they're working in this together. And I think that is the navigation piece. That's the piece where actually let's navigate all of this complexity together. And let's work as a team rather than just a collection of individuals, and feel really, really confident that we're heading in the right direction and we're going to get to our destination, and that we're going to feel fantastic for doing that and achieving that together as well.
So that's kind of it for this short video, really. And it's now an opportunity for you to reach out to us and start a conversation. How does this relate to you in your businesses, in your organizations? Do you recognize what we've been talking about here? Where is your organization drifting? How could we help you unlock your clarity and allow you to start building that awareness to prevent the drift from taking place? So yeah, it all starts with a conversation. So get in touch with us. We'll leave the details to do that, but you can contact any one of us, but Gary at We Are Create Flow and Jill at We Are Create Flow. Nice and easy to remember. I'll put some links in the description, but just reach out. Let's start a conversation and we can start looking at how we can tailor some of these programs into your business and make sure that what you get is what you need in helping you with navigating these choppy waters. So thanks again for watching, and hopefully it's been useful for you, even if all that is to realise that you're not alone in all of this complexity and uncertainty. So thanks again, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.